Let's start with this new jobs report that just came out. So we just got these jobs numbers in a few minutes ago. Let's dive into it. The United States has posted a bigger than expected drop in these new jobless claims last week. So that is good news, as impacts related to Hurricane Ida and the Delta variant's big summer spike have now receded. Although I don't know if you saw this news. Do you see this news this morning that the CDC is now warning us about a massive flu outbreak that we could have in this winter? Can't we just have
aren't we over the flu?
Winter? I thought last year we didn't have any flu, right? No one had the flu. Why this year suddenly are we going to now have the flu? Well, I don't get it. Are we just so that's what the CDC is warning this morning.
Maybe it's a variant, a flu variant.
Well, they're all flu variants. There is no one flu, right? When you get the flu shot, it only targets the top 3 or 4 biggest ones, and then you've got 174 strains that you hope, maybe not hit you. I don't know. Anyway, we got past this. We got past the Delta variant craziness, although that's still out there. But as far as the summer jobs numbers, so this is a good sign. Jobless claims totaling 326. That's much lower than 345 they expected. The Labor Department released its weekly jobless claims report just a few moments ago. The biggest headline here in all of this, though, I have to say, is this ended a 3-week streak of increases in new jobless claims. So that's a good sign. So this is the first time in 3 weeks where we haven't had a big surge in people filing for unemployment benefits. But on the other side of this, you could say, wait a minute, didn't we also just pull back on all of these additional unemployment benefits for people? So that's some of it, but mostly it just means that people haven't filed additionally separate from any COVID related. So that's good news. Some economists saying that that because of an uptick in coronavirus cases and disruptions due to Hurricane Ida, that we went through that. Now we're coming out of that stage. And so that's why we're seeing these numbers. I'd be curious, in the chat, let me know here. Have you guys in the chat, like Dean Thomas says, 20,000 less. That is good news. 20,000 still, but nonetheless, how many of you have been looking for work or been trying to get back out there, or your job just doesn't exist anymore? You're saying, I don't want to go back to this crappy job that's going to pay me really low wages, make me work, 80 hours a week. I'm just curious your situation. Drop me a chat here. I'd be curious about that. So as of the week ending September 18th, about 4.2 million workers were claiming benefits across all unemployment programs compared to about 5 million for the week before. So obviously they've come down because President Biden has allowed these federal unemployment benefits to expire on September 6th. However, even prior to that, total numbers had also been trending lower, which is good. So there's rehiring activity picked back up. We saw that companies basically said, hey, we're over the Delta variant. Companies are like, hey, we're over COVID. We're going to hire as many people as we can. We need to get people back in, working at the McDonald's and trying to give you additional bonuses and whatnot. Companies basically shook off the worries about Delta, and we saw a faster than expected pace in September, according to the Wednesday report. So Wednesday's report on hiring from ADP, from the payroll processing company, and then we have the jobs report this morning for unemployment benefits. So when you combine all of that, do you feel better about things? Private jobs rose by about 568,000 for the month. That's better than the Dow Jones had estimated. That's almost 100,000 more people went back to work than before, which is great. And you know how they always have to revise the jobs numbers every month because they're always wrong? I don't know why. They're always wrong, right? So August, when we had the jobs report in August, the initial report showed growth of 374 back in August. So then they revised it down to 340. So initially it showed 374, and then they revised it down about 30. How do you get it wrong? If you and I were running a business and we were off by 34,000 every month,
we'd be in jail.
We'd be in jail. Can't they just figure that into their overall numbers, right? Can't we just know that they're always going to be wrong?
No, because that makes it too transparent.
I guess so.
Come on, man.
Sorry, Joe. Well, it's just wrong all of the time. It just makes no sense at all. Like, and we're supposed to just believe them. That's the great part, right? We're supposed to just believe these guys because these guys are authority, aren't they? These guys have like supreme authority. These guys work at the labor department, so these guys know these numbers inside and out. How many people? We're supposed to just back off, right? We're supposed to just back off, man.
And what
back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Oh, you're okay.
We're to believe that they just sit there and crunch numbers all day. Like they don't, like they don't have lives or anything. They're just sitting there crunching these numbers and trying to figure it out. And yet they just happen to be off. The experts are off every month.
Right. Every month. 30,000, 50,000. Like, okay, you're just off that much. So good news on the jobs report number. I mean, at least if we want to look at these sort of preliminarily here, and wait till they revise these probably down a little bit later. So if look, Dean Thomas pointed out in our chat, 20,000, right? That's 20,000 less than they anticipated. Great. Until we get the revised numbers in November for October and we find out that they're 40,000 people off. So it's not as good as we think it is. But right now, as it stands today, more companies are hiring, okay? There's a strong uptick in hiring. Great news. And then we're also seeing people that aren't filing unemployment benefits as much. That has also gone down. So I'm going to be, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. You know me, right? I'm a glass half full. So I think this is good news for the economy overall. Now, the real question I have is what is going to happen with the Federal Reserve? Because now that we're getting this good jobs number, and also what's going to happen with the stimulus? This is more fuel to Joe Manchin's fire, isn't it? This is more fuel to Kyrsten Sinema's fire. That, hey,
well, actually,
we don't need...
it's more donations to her PACs.
Right. She'll take money for other things, but, as long as it relates to the stimulus, she won't spend money. But this is really going to pull back on any kind of stimulus, and I really think you're going to see that from the Federal Reserve. They're going to really start moving towards this tapering program for Wall Street. We're going to start to see more calls now to not be a $3.5 trillion stimulus. I can take that to the bank. Take that to the bank. Andy McKendrick, thank you for your $5 super chat. Andy says, I finally got a raise from $11.40 an hour to $13.12 an hour. It's not much, but it's a step in the right direction. That's good news, Andy. Giving you, so not quite $2 raise. By the way, I'm curious, Andy, what company? You don't need to drop another super chat, but just tell me what company, Andy. I'm curious.
I think I came up with a solution for the maximum wage thing. I was thinking the perfect setup, I believe, would be that a company's executives can't make more than 75% of their lowest paid employee. You give them 75% more. That way they're still getting a nice chunk, even 100%. You could go 100%. Because what did Dan Price say that the original was? 400% difference?
Yeah, it was like, it was like 400% that he was, he as the CEO of his company was making than the lowest employee in his company.
Yeah. So you could do it. So with some of these companies, I guarantee it's a lot higher than that. So like Bezos, I wonder what the percentage is of what he makes versus what his, but anyway, if you made it like even 100%, then you've got then you know that they would, like your lowest paid employee would be paid 100, no less than 100% of the executives, and then the problem solved.
Yeah, the problem is though that of course they would roll in their bonuses as totally separate from salary. They're like, oh well, hey, I make $120,000 a year, but I get a $40,000 or I get a $20 million bonus for profits, like it's over there's always a loophole, there's
but
always a loophole.
You'd have to close that. Like they could have a bonus too that would have to, you could take 100% of that and, or a certain percentage of that. And the rest has to get passed down as to employees. Like you could do it. It would just mean you would have to, hurt the people that donate to you.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for Andy's. Andy sent me that super chat about his company that he just got a raise. I just want to see him drop another answer to my question in here. Like, what company do you? I mean, if you don't have to tell me what company you work for, but if you want to tell me, I'm just curious. Who? Because hey, if it's a larger company and they're actually paying employees more, good. I want to give them a shout out. They're certainly not hitting $23 an hour, which is still at a poverty wage, but still, hey, Highline Plastics in Olathe, am I saying that right? Olathe, Kansas. Highline Plastics. All right, Andy. Well, hey, I guess they're doing something, giving workers a little bit more money. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.